This is how we wake up our Airstream from hibernation. Here's how we haul it out of the hangar for a big trip.
Keep going. Good, good. We are currently in Salt Lake City at the Airstream of Utah. This is the first time we use this facility. They have a sister dealership in Alpine, which we always use. But since we're going down to Zion into Vegas, we thought we'd stop here. This Airstream been sitting in the storage for 6 months since we winterized it. So this is the first time we took it out. Right now it's at the end of April to have them de-winterize and just to check up to make sure the AC, the heater, and the hot water is working for this trip. If there is another issue or problem on this trip, then this Airstream is done. We're gonna end up selling it, so this might be the last time you will see an Airstream video on this channel. So finger crossed, because I really do enjoy being in it. I love planning trips with it. So I really hope that everything goes smoothly. I don't expect it to be 100%. I just want the AC, the heater, and the hot water and the electrical to work. The very basic things should be working. If we encounter another factory issue, then this is it for us. We just don't have time to keep bringing it back to the service area. We are going through the most beautiful territory in the US. We're gonna spend some time in Zion, and also on this trip to minimize some of the problems that we have during when we were dispersed camping or dry camping. We're gonna stay in RV and resort parks, so hopefully that will minimize 50% of the issue we will encounter, because I really want this Airstream to work for us. Good morning.
Want to see what a 300,000 Airstream looks like? This is the 2025 Airstream Atlas, built on a Mercedes chassis. Packed with tech. And yes, the bed does fold out with a push of a button. And a kitchen that screams glamping, but make it gourmet. It got a full bathroom, a legit closet, basically it's for people who want to roam free but with heated floors. This is the 2025 30 Classic. Physically, it looks exactly the same as the 24. Quality seemed to be the same. The major difference is that our 24 has the 3020 Audi system, and the new 25 model has the 3030 Audi system, which has a better user interface. The first thing we do on every trip is stock up on groceries.
I'm picky with my strawberries. Feel like I'm back in Vietnam again. So we got the Airstream done. Our glycol is leaking again. So I'm just, and we don't know why. They don't know why. They don't know where the leak is coming from, but our glycol was down 75%. So it might be one of those trips to Ohio to have them look at it. It's like, okay, you have a dud, you need to fix it. Good, good, good. Okay, all hooked up. Got the Airstream all hooked up, and now we're on our way to Zion. It will take about 3.5 hours from Salt Lake to Zion. Here we go. Okay, nice campsite. This is going to be our campsite for the next 3 days, or 4 days, 3 nights. Very cool. And then we have a picnic table. It's really pretty. This is the surge protector, and our Airstream is 50 amp. So you turn off everything before you plug it in. Confirmed there is a blue light, so we're good to go. Basketball courts, tennis, and pickleball. And they're building the pool place over there. These are the cabins. So these cabins right here are actually better because you can see the view. And then the wagons are over there with the little pond. That's really pretty, really pretty. They have like barbecue stuff on all of the sites here. So these are probably more of the premium side. Look at that, it has their own kitchen area over there. And then they have teepees and those cabins up there too. Really beautiful. This is the definition of glamping. So these right here do not have a very good view. It's like Flintstone houses. The only bad thing about this RV park is sprinklers. My husband and I are very anal about keeping our stuff clean. He more so than I am. So this is driving him crazy. So if you're like him, just be aware that there will be a sprinkler here that will get all of your truck and your RV. From our RV park to Zion National Park is about 20 minutes. Zion National Park, during majority of the season, you have to get on the bus and then the bus will take you to different hikes and whatever you want to do in there. So it's a little bit of a troublesome, but there are 2 most famous hikes in there. It's the Angel Landings and the Narrows to the subway. Both you would have to get a permit for. I believe you could go to the Narrows, but you can only go up to a certain point. You can't go all the way to the subway without a permit. There is another area of Zion that not a lot of people talk about. It's called Cola, and it's a different entrance than the one that you're going in here, and I think it's equally as beautiful. Another way to avoid going on the bus is there's a parking lot where you can park your car and then you can put a bike on the back of your truck or your car, and then you could bike around through Zion that way. And I recommend that's the best way to go about exploring Zion. Then you don't have to depend on the bus to take you back and forth. Zion National Park is one of my favorite national parks in the US, but the crowds right now is making it almost impossible to visit here and really enjoy the park, because even if you do get a permit to hike Angel's Landing, it's just a lot of people. I did it about 6 years ago, and we had to get up like at 4 o'clock in the morning, get on this 5 o'clock bus to hike up there, and it was still super crowded. So now it's even worse than that. So if you come here just for that, I don't really recommend it. Yes, it is an amazing hike, but I believe there are other hikes that's equally as impressive. So don't spend your whole time trying to get here just for that hike, because there are other beautiful areas that you could explore in Zion. This is the town of Springdale. So this is the closest town to Zion National Park that you could stay in. We are kind of in the peak season right now, so it might be super crowded. The best time to actually come in here is during winter. Winter time is the only time that you could drive into Zion without having to get on a bus. I don't know if they changed that. I don't think so. That's probably the only time that you would avoid the crowds also. Okay, another tip that just crossed my mind is that if you don't have an RV and you come in here and stay in a hotel, there are places you could stay here, but there are accommodations inside the park that would allow you to drive in and maybe even drive around the park. I'm not sure 100% that you can actually do that if you have accommodation inside the park, but that might be something to look into. There is a marketplace right over there.
You've arrived. Destination is on your right.
If you don't have the National Park Pass, it's $35 for a vehicle, and then the Zion Annual is $70, but I would recommend getting the National Annual Pass for $80.
Hi, great. How about you?
Yes, please.
Thanks so much.
Wow, their map is not very impressive. This is the visitor center. This is where you will park for the bus. Right now it is 4 o'clock and it's still super crowded here. So this national park is probably one of the most famous one in the US. So it's always gonna be crowded every time, every day. So just be prepared for that. I would come here super early in the morning. This is my 5th time coming here and I never got a stamp. So this is the first time we're getting a stamp here. And every single year it just gets more crowded, so it makes it really less enjoyable to come here anymore. This is the information and that is the bookstore. Okay. They're all connected, so you go to either one, I think. Let's see. Even the gift shop is crowded. I think this might be the only visitor center here in Zion. On the stamp. Which one should I get? And then I'm gonna do the date one. This is actually where you put the sticker, but I never buy the sticker because I'm too cheap. So I just get another stamp there. And then there's this other stamp. You know, why not? He's gonna do it there too. Okay, my 3 stamps. Let's see what sticker I like. Maybe this one? So these are the 2 famous hikes here. This is Angel's Landing. And this is the Narrow. That one is very nice. Hello, good, how are you? This is where you go for the bus stop. The bus is right over there. This is the shuttle information. Okay, so this is where you will wait for the shuttle. So this would be the shuttle that would take you inside the park. This shuttle in the city also, so you could actually park in the city and then take this shuttle into the park. Hi, if we take this shuttle in the city, how do we pay for the park pass? How does that work? I asked him earlier, if you park in the city and if you take a shuttle inside Zion, how do you pay? He just said once you get into Zion, there's a ranger at the bus station that will take the payment. So don't think if you park out there and get the shuttle in here, you don't have to pay. You definitely will have to pay. So you could actually rent a bike in here, which I highly recommend you to do. So come in here early, rent a bike, and then just use it throughout this whole trail. Biking in here is probably the best bike road you will ever experience in your life. So for those of you that never been to Zion before, there are 9 stops in here, including the visitor center. The bad thing about the bus system or the shuttle system is that once you get off the hike, you might be waiting about like 15 to 30 minutes to get on the bus to get out. That's why biking in here would be the best option when you can't drive in here. So when you get to each bus stop, there's going to be a bus stop that will go north and then another one that will go south. Well, then just make sure you're in the right line to go wherever you need to go. Okay, so this is the last stop right here, and this is where you will hike into the Narrows. That is incredible. So it is a 1-mile hike to the Narrow, and this one you will get wet, so I recommend bringing an extra flip-flops and maybe a change of clothing. So you definitely want to do Angel's Landing first and then do the Narrows after, because then you can cool off that way. And it's really, really nice because you can actually swim here if you want to. I see a lot of people swim in their bikinis, so that's another option. Or the other one is that you rent one of those wetsuits. This is the beginning of the Narrows Trail. So this is where the paved road would end. You go down that stair right there. And then if you want to continue, you could either hike on the water. I don't recommend it. There's a small trail besides it that you can hike. And then the deeper you go, the more beautiful the site becomes until you get to like these really pretty narrow tunnels. Let's see how cold the water is. It is pretty chilly. So end of April is really, really cold water. So you might not want to get into the water if you come in November through May. If you come during this time, I would recommend getting one of these like jumpsuits, because that way you could really enjoy your hike a little bit better. I'm not going to try to hike it now because it's cold and I don't have the gear for it. So Angel's Landing is actually at 6. It doesn't really tell you on the map. And then the Narrow's at 9. This place is called Autocamp. It's a really cool concept if you want to stay in an Airstream but don't want to buy one. So they actually have a pool there too.
Where should we unload?
So there's a tiki hut that you can stay in, and this Airstream would be a little bit different than what you would find at the dealership because it's custom made to this company. The cheapest would be $373 and the most expensive would be around $440 something during May. So that could vary depending on month that you book, but that is really expensive per night. So it's really cool if you want to experience an Airstream and just want to try it out, but it is very different when it's not moving. When it is stationary, it's a completely experience than owning it and have to trailer it to places. So this would not really give you the full experience because about 50% of the whole experience is like hooking up the Airstream to your truck and then moving it around. So this would kind of get you close to the Airstream experience, but not so much. It's more of a glamping experience. This might be a restaurant right here, but it's not open yet during our stay. That's why it's so cheap right now. They do have this shuttle that would take you to Zion for a fee. This place is really beautiful once it's done. So the bison is all the way over there, but you have to go through dirt road to get to it. And they have 3 white bisons here. I'm not gonna go because we are in a time crunch, and also I don't want to get my truck and Airstream dirty. We probably wouldn't stay here again just because of the sprinkler. It's been a nightmare. I mean, we spend 2 hours cleaning our truck and Airstream every single day. The sprinkler comes on twice a day, and then if you let it stick in the sun for too long, the hard water spots, it's really hard to get off. So if you're kind of anal like we are, I don't recommend staying here because you will get hit by the sprinklers twice a day. Today we are leaving to go to another campsite. Another thing I forgot to mention here is that they don't have sewage. So it might create an issue if you stay here for more than 3 days because you would have to go somewhere else to dump your sewage. So that's why the rate is so cheap right now. So just be aware of that if you come anytime this year, 2025. I like this place overall. I think it's a very beautiful campground. It's just the sprinkler issue. The sprinkler is a huge issue for us, so we won't be coming back. Thank you for watching. Until next time.